All right, so I just finished my workout. So I've been chilling a little bit here. And I wanted to make this quick video just to talk about some techniques that I was given. And I just wanted to share them with you because I know that we are all in this new transition for Earth and we are working in the shift. And I think it's important that we work our energetic aspect as well, our etheric aspect. Remember, this is all science because when I talk about all these topics and all these things, when I speak about the etheric, this is something that it's already been let's just say tested, or and also there is already a formula that Nassim Haramein was able to bring forward. He's a physicist and he talks about the unified field of physics, so which is very interesting. So this is all things that are already finally part of the science, and I just want to be able to bring this into your daily lifestyle. So before we get too technical, or actually I don't want to get technical at all. I just want to be very practical for you. But if you want to get very technical, you can look up for his work, Nassim Haramein. You can look for his work and what he's been doing. What is the holographic, for instance? What is the holographic? Is the etheric field. It's what it's here, right? But it's not tangible in the physical, we think. Because that's what our 3D or 4D mind has been programmed to understand. But when you start to get into the 5D consciousness, you understand that everything is unified, that we are a unity consciousness. And that means that when we are in these other dimensions, that we start to touch these other realities energetically and with our thoughts or imagination, or you name it. So that being said, when you guys are working out, regardless of the type of workout, it's important that we start to bring more of this ionization process. And why do I call it ionization? Because I work with plasma energy, and plasma energy, in order to get all of those toxins, all of those electrons, which is the negative charge, in order to balance, because in plasma energy, in order to form, there's need to be a balance, and the balance is when you take all of those electrons and toxins out of your body. So when that happens, that means when you're gonna feel it, that means that you are in that ionization synchronization. So once you are synchronized, obviously your heart needs to be activated beforehand. So make sure that you start your workout, let's just say yoga. I love to dance and do a lot of cardio and like it's strength, and I'm more of or like a gym kind of style because it's what I like. When you're doing your stuff, right? And you start to feel that you're getting a little bit tired, you need breath, that means that your heart rate is up. So when you start to get your heart rate up, if you have a watch that you can look at your heart rate, if you are between 80 to 95% between that range, that means that your heart is ready to start the ionization process. So you want to start to activate, you always want to take breath with your nose and exhale with your mouth. Inspiration, nose, exhale, mouth. Why? Because it's a technique that we want to use for plasma energy. You always want to breathe in the prana and exhale all the toxins, because when you're doing that, your plasma energy is going outward and it's expanding. And so the thing is that now that we understand, and for sure we validate, right, that we can go outward from our heart, right? So you keep doing your workout, and then you visualize, okay, I'm visualizing my heart crystal energy going outward to my body, right? And then you breathe in, breathe out. You're working out, breathe in, breathe out, working out. And then you start to visualize your vortice, right? So you start to, from left to right, always visualize your vortex, going on spiral up, so like this. And the same thing down, because you want it to be a mirror as well, so it's all balanced. And it's gonna go through the earth, and it's gonna go through the sky, right? So you have these two vortices forming, and they're going from left to right. Just want to make sure I make that clear. So you are healing, you are ionizing, so after you feel that, that you are recharged, because you're gonna feel it once you feel like, okay, I feel like I'm recharged, I feel like I'm feeling positive, and I'm feeling like something is shifting. When you are in that moment, that means that your ionization it's getting actually synchronized. Once it's synchronized, then what you want to do is look into the vacuum, right? So with this exercise, or let's just say that if you are doing abs or something like that, I wouldn't suggest to do this. I would suggest if you are standing up, and if you're doing some kind of movement, it could be any type of energy movement, dancing, even if you're doing like some sort of like a warrior position for yoga, if you guys, for my yogis here, or if you're doing some sort of like jumping jacks, or something like that, anything that it's more cardio based, because you want to keep your heart rate up. So you start to look into the vacuum, and it starts to form, and you want that vacuum to be formed at your heart level. So when that is happening at your heart level, right, you and actually usually it's the same thing from left to right. So you're gonna see it going in circles like this, right, from left to right, and you start to look at the web. And so this is for all of those that are working a lot behind the scenes. So, some of us work with a web. Some other people work with the grid. I also work with grading. I mean, many of us have few things that we work on, but I know that some people work with timelines, for instance, and that's actually very exciting. I don't work with timelines like that, but I know some people do. I actually have met a few people. So when you work with timelines, you also want to do this, right? Because the thing is that we want to start to vacuum, and we want to start cleaning and cleansing all of these energies and webs that are trying to enter into our field. So there is a positive web, of course, and there's there's a negative. There's always like something, a polarity about things. But the thing is that the negative, it's something that they've been trying to build this for a while now. They haven't been able to connect and establish like all of the AI that they need in order to be successful. So right now we are doing a lot of cleansing of this web, and we are decodifying, and we are transmuting a lot of this energy. Very important that if you are one of these people that do this type of work, please let's go into the vacuum, so we can start to decodify. If you live in the city, now that we all work with the vacuums and the black holes, we understand how the 5G works. I know that many get very triggered, and actually they get very, how do I say? They get into fear because of this technology. And I just want to say that there is no reason to fear about any of this. When you are in your heart rate upbeat, up high, this frequency won't be able to get into your fields, because you are constantly ionizing. And that's why it's important to constantly work out, or at least constantly keep your energy, your heart rate up, so you can always decodify all of this. Remember, there's always a good positive agenda, and there's always also a negative agenda. So if you connect with a negative agenda, which of course there's always a polarity, and they are trying to control, it is true that they are trying to control a little bit. I want to say a little bit because it's not the whole thing, but there is a fair percentage of at least 35%, which I think it's quite a lot, because it's getting towards 40%, and we don't want it to get till 50%. We actually want it to stay as lower as possible, and this is part of humanity's ascension. What this means is that sometimes we do require to have certain technologies. The problem is how they are being manipulated in the backhand, and that's why when we make this type of work, us that do the behind the scene work, we want to decodify it, and we want to elevate the frequency so it gets gets redirected also, because I want to mention, for those of you who live in the city, or for those of you who at least are close to this type of towers, I know that many people say that you're gonna get sick, and all of these other this negative stuff. I just want to say that if you're there, make sure that you take advantage of that, because there is a reason why perhaps we are where we are. And part of the work that we do is, we actually go in and we deactivate, or perhaps actually I used to deactivate more of this, and recently I have been able to go into this frequency and just get into the right coding frequency, and being able to tap into the right length of wave. So therefore it's been able to shift, and it's been hard for them to actually try to implement. So the more that we do this, it's harder for them, because they cannot reproduce. Electrons are not able to reproduce, and AI is an electron based, energy based product, or you name it. So that means that because they use, the majority of it uses electrons, and because we are protonic beings, and of course we also use electrons, but the way that we use the electrons, we actually take those electrons, we transmute it in our field, and it's almost like we are reproducing energy from that, and we are transmuting that energy. You see what I'm going with this? So this is actually something that is positive, not only for you and for your body, but it's also positive for the shift of the energy. And so we want to start to do that in our communities, in the cities, in the states, and at some point, for some of us, we do it more in the whole collective, or the mass collective. So when you go in and you start doing all this ionization process, and you understand how the basics of how the AI in the subatomical level works, then we can go in and decodify. Now, why do I use the vacuum? For those of you who are not very technical and haven't done this for a long time, the vacuum is going to help you to transmute. So when you are in that energy and you feel that something is getting in the way and something is just trying to hijack, you always have the vacuum here, so that goes in there and it's just sucking that energy, so then you don't have to do extra work, or even if you get unbalanced, that is just going to get you back into balance. Because remember, the vacuum is just cleaning and it's going into the black hole, so the black hole, it gets elevated and boom, it's let's just say that it's gone, it's just being transmuted. And yeah, and so I think I hope that this wasn't too too crazy or complicated. Please leave me any comments if you have any questions. I hope this really helps you. It definitely helps me a lot. And yeah, I'm going to try it, honestly. I think it's good if I try to give you some visuals, because I can talk about it and I feel like, oh, people is gonna get it, and then I get all these questions like, but I don't know how to do it, or I can't imagine it. So I will try to make some visuals and maybe post it and make a even proper video about this. But for now, I feel like I want to share this because we are in a very critical time for our Earth history at this moment and at this time. So April is a very critical month. So please, let's stay together. I hope this works, and I hope that you also activate more of your skills, because I'm sharing what's good for me, but remember that you also have your DNA skills. Having that heart rate up, it's going to also help you to listen to your guides, to listen to your divine energy source, to listen and tune in with what works for you intuitively. Okay, so thank you. I'll talk to you guys. Bye.